Hey guys, Justin here with JKS Manufacturing. Today, we're going to work on this brand new 2018 Jeep Wrangler JL Unlimited. This is a sport model. It's got maybe a dozen or so miles on it. We're going to kind of go through the ins and outs of installing one of our J-Spec J-rated suspension systems on this particular Wrangler, and just kind of give you a good overview of all the parts and pieces and how they go together. So we've got our base JL box kit here. Just kind of go through instructions, super important, make sure to read those. Windshield banner, we've got our front track bar, rear track bar bracket, bump stop extensions, our sway bar quicker disconnects, and the rear sway bar links, of course all of our hardware and our front disconnects. Step one, obviously, is measuring for ride height. So center hub, the top of the wheel opening, we did that before we put it on the hoist. We need to document that. Please document that when you're doing these kits. That helps you and us troubleshoot any issues that you could ever come by. So we'll open up our instruction sheet, and per our instructions, we're going to go ahead and start in the rear of this JL. So you might be wondering why we're starting in the rear of this JL. We assume that you're going to be working with jack stands and a jack maybe in your garage, maybe not a hoist like this. So when we lift the rear first, we're able to get the extra height needed to raise the front as high as it needs to go to drop out the front coil springs. So we start in the rear, give you that extra height, that way there to make the front a whole lot easier. So we got here, folks, we took the hardware off. This is the TPMS, tire pressure monitoring system. This is the signal to the ECU. Inside of this coil bucket, you can see this small hole drilled there. All we're going to do is take this and mount it back to that. That way there, we've moved that sensor out of the way, relocated it, and we're ready to go. Hey guys, quick tip here on these rear sway bar links on the JL. You're going to spin this nut and the whole joint is going to spin. Jeep was nice enough, they put a little hex head on the end of it there. So you can come in there with a hex wrench and then come at it with an open-ended wrench like so with your hex wrench coming out. Just a little quick tip there in case that's giving you a struggle. Something to note here on this upper coil spring isolator. You see this little tab right here? There's a spot on the coil bucket for that to go. All right, and that's going to clock that spring so importantly. So as we go in with our new rear springs, we're going to pay very close attention to that. Something else to notice, we got our dual rate coil springs. You can tell that by the tight windings on the top and looser windings on the bottom. Tight windings go to the top of the vehicle. So isolator, seats on the spring, and then we're going to make sure to align that tab when we put it in the Jeep. All right, so now we're on to the rear sway bar links. These are adjustable in length. We want these ball centers right here, 11 3/4 inches. So I just pulled this one out of the box, and it comes up about 11 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and give those an adjustment. We're going to try to do that somewhat evenly on both sides. We're going to call that perfect. Excellent. We'll just finger tight these jam nuts for left and right hand side. Handy for the other side. Once you got one set to length, you can just adjust the other one to the same length there. And that way there you're not measuring in both hands. You know, it's important they're both set the same length. So now we got them set to length. We'll come over here. And in some instances, this hole on the sway bar isn't quite opened up far enough for these. A little manufacturing tolerance, but this one's kind of that way. We don't just use a drill bit on that. That's spring steel. Drill bit's gonna have a heck of a time with that. So we're gonna use a rotary bit, just open that up just a little bit. At home, you can use just a round file or something like that. I'd urge against you just going at it with a drill bit. It doesn't take much, just kind of clean the powder coating off of it, and it drops right in there, no problem. So we got our J-Spec shock here, and as you can see, it's got a spacer. This fits the JL chassis. This spacer does come out, so if it falls out or something like that while you're working with it, it's good. Okay, just pop it right back in. So what we're gonna do is put the shock up in the shock mount, and you're gonna have to compress that spacer a little bit to get it to go in there. And the instructions will tell you about walking the shock a little bit. What that means, we'll get to that here in a minute. So I'm gonna walk the shock, see that? Just wiggle it back and forth. Now the bolt's in there, and we're good to go. So your track bar bracket, there's actually a bracket and a brace. So we're gonna come behind the original mount with the bracket, behind and in front. So you're behind here and front here, and then our brace is gonna attach right here over the top of it. That's just gonna capture the whole thing. 9/16 hardware through here. It's all mocked up right now. The bolts are just snug tight, and what we're gonna do is mark our holes for drilling. There's going to be 3 holes that get drilled on this Jeep. We'll get them all marked. Point of this is to raise the bar up a little bit. That corrects the angle here, puts that instant center back the way we want it. All right, so we got the rear all completed and buttoned up. Of course, we'll tighten that track bar once it's on the ground, the weight on it. Coming up to the front, we're gonna pull out the coil springs, the shocks, sway bar links, track bar, bump stop extensions. We're gonna pull all that stuff out and put in the new JKS stuff. All right, guys, so that kind of covers installing the 2.5-inch J-rated J-Spec system right now. We got our 35-inch Nitto Ridge grapplers on here on some black Rhino alloy wheels. So a couple other things, a couple things to button up. We got to tighten up the track bars and, kind of set the alignment, but really not a bad install. Very much something that you're able to do yourself, but also very good reasons to have it done at your professional installer as well. So thanks for watching, and enjoy future builds from JKS.